Yo, what's up, guys? It's Luca Kassab. Welcome to Kassab's Corner. MLB All Star Game quickly approaching. We have until June 29th to vote for the remaining guys for the All Star Game. So let's get right into it. Start with the American League. American League first baseman between Yandy Diaz and Vlad Guerrero Jr. Let's be fair. Vlad does not deserve to be here. Yandy Diaz has a better batting average, more home runs, a higher OPS. He's been the better defensive player. Plus, he's on the one-seeded Rays. Yandy Diaz should be the American League starting first baseman. At second, Marcus Semien versus Whit Merrifield. Whit's the higher batting average. Semien has more home runs, more RBIs, a higher OPS. Semien may not be hitting the same way he did to start the season, but Marcus Semien should be the second baseman starting in the American League. Third base, I'm really having trouble with this one. Matt Chapman versus Josh Young, because they're both relatively good hitters. Chapman has a 1 point higher OPS. Young's been the better hitter, but Chapman was the best, if not the best player in baseball for the first month of the season. While he has cooled down, I'm going to take his glove and still a pretty good bat to start at third base for Matt Chapman. Shortstop, Bo Bichette versus Corey Seager. Both have had great years. But the big thing to me is Seager's missed 31 games and still has a high, almost a 150 point higher OPS, one less RBI, and he's played like an MVP since he returned. Corey Seager since he returned from injury, he's probably been the best player in the American League. No shift, and Corey Seager's a god. Hey, catcher, Jonah Heim versus Adley Rutschman. Jonah Heim is the better bat as of late, but I don't know. It's one of those things where they should both be all-stars. But I'm taking Adley for the fact he's the better defender. He's arguably a top 3 catcher in baseball with these two right here. And Adley's changed the culture of the Baltimore Orioles. They're a playoff team now. What were they before Adley called up midseason last year? Without Adley has changed this team's culture. Adley Rutschman should be an all-star starter. And that's no hate to Jonah Heim. Jonah Heim should be the backup catcher and should 100% be an all-star. Now, the outfield for the American League, I would say DH, but Ohtani's already locked in as he should be. Outfield, first guy, Randy Arozarena. 292 average, 14 home runs, 54 RBIs, 890 OPS, and a good defensive player. Randy is on the one-seeded Tampa Bay Rays. He should be an all-star starter. Sucks. I wish Josh Lau was on here because that would be another one of my starting outfielders. Secondly, Aaron Judge. Hopefully he's healthy enough to play, but he's having just as good of a year as his MVP last year. 291, 19 home runs, 40 RBIs, over 1,000 OPS, almost 1,100, and he's one of the best defensive outfielders. As long as he's healthy, he should be an all-star starter. And finally, Mike Trout. Not much explaining to do. Higher OPS than Adolis Garcia, more games than Jordan. Mike Trout is the third all-star starter. Mike Trout, we know what he does. One of, if not the best players in baseball. Let's go to the National League. Okay? Freddie Freeman versus Matt Olson. Matt Olson hits tanks, but that's all he does. Give me Freddie Freeman. Higher WAR, higher batting average, higher OPS. Freddie Freeman. One of, if not the best hitters this year in baseball. Second base, Ozzie Albies. He's having a pretty good year. I'll give it to him. But what Luis Arias is doing right now for the Marlins, who are in playoff territory right now, what he is doing with almost a 400 batting average, it's unheard of. When was the last time that happened? That is Luis Arias. Again, a guy in the MVP running, starting second baseman. At third, Nolan Arenado versus Austin Riley. Arenado and Riley have been about the same in terms of batting. They're neither great. They're great, but for their standards, they're a little below what they usually do. But Nolan Arenado is a much better defender than Austin Riley. So Nolan Arenado should start at third. At short, Orlando Arcia versus Lindor. 314 average versus 223. While Lindor has more home runs and more RBIs, he has a lower OPS, a lower WAR, and Arcia doesn't get as many at-bats. Orlando Arcia should be starting at short. Catcher Sean Murphy versus Will Smith. See, the thing is, they're both one average difference, same amount of home runs. Murphy has 2 more RBIs, and Smith has a higher OPS. But Smith also missed a week and a half due to injury. So, right as of now, Will Smith has a higher WRC plus, higher WAR, higher average, higher on base percentage, higher slugging percentage, higher OPS plus, higher fielding percentage, higher walk rate, and higher K percent, meaning he strikes out less. While Sean Murphy is one of probably the best defensive catcher in baseball, Will Smith he's made improvements there too. And Will Smith as a whole has been a better bat. Murphy started hotter, but Will Smith has been more consistent. And that's my starting catcher in the All Star game. Again, those are the top 2 catchers in baseball, in my opinion. And those two, it's tough, and they should both be All Stars. Same thing Hyman Adley should have. Now for the outfield, Cunha, obvious. Already there, perfect. Second guy, Corbin Carroll. In my opinion, my MVP right now. Just like Adley, he's changed the culture of that Diamondbacks team. Corbin Carroll should be the Rookie of the Year, and he practically has that locked. But even more so, Corbin Carroll should win MVP of the National League. Secondly, Mookie Betts. Elite defender. Plays everywhere on the field. And he's hitting for more power this year. Mookie Betts should be the third All-Star starter. And Fernando Tatis should be in this conversation. So, in my opinion, Tatis, he better be one of the guys. Should be one of the reserve outfielders. Okay, finally, DH, Martinez versus Harper. Harper missed a good chunk of time. JD's been really good for the Dodgers. He's been a really good signing for us. But let's go through it, right? Martinez has a higher FWAR, more hits, more home runs, more RBIs, more total bases, while Harper has a higher average and a higher on-base percentage. But Martinez also has a higher slugging percentage, OPS plus, WRC plus. Martinez should be the obvious answer here. Harper has not played enough. Okay, that's what I have. So in the American League, Yandy, Simeon, Chapman, and Seager in the infield, Adley behind the plate, Randy, Judge, and Trout in the outfield with Ohtani as the DH. Then in the National League, Freeman, Luis Arias, Arenado, and Arcia in the infield with Will Smith behind the plate, and Acuna, Betts, and Carroll in the outfield with JD Martinez as the DH. In the future, I'd like if we got to actually choose the pitchers as well, because in the National League, Gallen and Kershaw have been aces, while American League, McClanahan, and probably Garrett Cole. But the big thing I take away from All-Star voting is how many Blue Jays are on here and how many Braves are on here. When, to be fair, they have some dudes who are having good years. But like a dude, for example, like Kevin Kiermaier being here for the outfield shouldn't be there. Same thing with Michael Harris, shouldn't be here. But in my opinion, abolish fan voting. But we'll see what happens in the National League and all of these dudes. If they're not starters of the dudes I voted, they should all be on the team somehow. Kassab corner out. Remember to vote, and let's go. All-Star game right around the corner.